As things stand right now, the situation in the South China Sea is threatening to explode into a possible all-out war. In this conflict, there are two sides. China, which is laying claim to the mineral wealth at the bottom of the South China Sea, and the US-backed puppet governments of the Philippines and now Vietnam are laying claim to the oil resources that lie in the region. Now, this situation, fighting over resources, has the potential to get out of control. Previously, Vietnam has accused China of intentionally damaging an oil survey ship that was out looking for oil resources. China has denied the claim. Also, the Philippines accused China of using MiG-29A jets to harass their jets. However, later it was revealed that China doesn't have MiG-29 fighters, so the story kind of just quietly disappeared afterwards because this accusation was blatantly false. This is how China responded to the accusation. China does not accept the groundless accusations from the Philippines. China urges the Philippines to stop unilateral actions that impair China's sovereignty as well as maritime rights and interests and expand and complicate the South China Sea dispute, and to stop making erroneous and irresponsible remarks. The rhetoric between the nations has become warlike. We are ready to sacrifice everything to protect our homeland, our sea and island sovereignty. In response, Vietnam has announced that it will conduct live fire drills in the disputed region of the South China Sea. Now, this is unique because live fire drills for the Vietnamese Navy is extremely rare. They almost never happen. And when they do, they have never been publicly announced before. This can be no doubt that it would be seen as an act of bravado against the Chinese Navy. Backing up its puppet regime in the Philippines, the U.S. has sent a guided missile carrier to the region. They have not announced that they've sent it there in order to do training exercises, but they have not released a date when it's supposed to take place. However, the U.S. has said that until such a date is set, it will be there to patrol the waters in the region. China has announced that it has begun construction on uninhabited islands that it lays claim to in the South China Sea. However, the Philippine President Aquino has said that this is the worst violation of Philippine sovereignty, which I find absolutely hilarious, given that the Philippines is a nation that has been occupied by the United States since World War II. Tens of thousands of U.S. troops are stationed in the Philippines right now, despite popular opposition to it. This is not a breach of sovereignty if its claim is real or it's not real. A bigger claim of a breach of sovereignty is all the U.S. soldiers that are caught raping Filipino women in the country, and every one of them let off completely, just sent back to the United States, and the victims paid to be quiet. That's a real violation of sovereignty. U.S. interference in its politics is violating sovereignty. U.S. companies killing union activists and people who dare to strike in the outsourced jobs. That's a violation of Philippine sovereignty. This situation in the South China Sea is one that has the potential to explode and become very, very ugly. Again, we're seeing the same pattern as in with the attempted recovery from the global economic collapse, China versus the United States. Now, this time the U.S. is using its proxy countries, Vietnam and the Philippines, against China. Once again, this is a battle over resources for people to make money. There wouldn't be a battle over resources if these were used for human need and not profit making. This hostility would not be occurring. And on a final note, I'd like to give a personal message to both Vietnam and China. Look how far capitalism has made you fall. Do you remember the 1960s? You remember the Vietnam War when China sent all those volunteers to man anti-aircraft guns in North Vietnam? All the war material that was sent to back you up. You guys had great relations, an international brotherhood that was virtually unrivaled by anything else in the world. You had a revolutionary partnership that was beneficial to both of you. You guys were tight. You were like family. And since you both resorted back to capitalism, you're now fighting over resources, threatening war with each other, and conducting this ridiculous saber rattling. This is what capitalism has done to both of you. Both of you need to get back on the socialist path. Ho Chi Minh and Mao. You guys need to get back to them to regain your rightful spot as revolutionary brothers, not as enemies fighting over profit.